Introducing the groundbreaking Airbus Visual Line project, taking flight on the A380 assembly line. How did they build the biggest Airbus A380? Let's take a closer look at the project. Building this airplane was a huge undertaking, even though it broke multiple records for its sheer size and scale. It demanded components sourced from numerous companies worldwide, requiring complex logistics involving land, sea, air, and even barges to transport them. Curious about the behind-the-scenes efforts needed to assemble the mighty A380 Super Jumbo. Get ready to dive into the fascinating world of aviation engineering as we uncover the intricate process behind building the largest Airbus ever constructed, the mighty A380. What were the challenges that came with managing the supply chain for the construction of the A380 Airbus? Building the A380 required a complex network of manufacturers. One single A380 consists of more than 4 million individual parts. These parts are sourced from 1,500 companies in 30 countries worldwide, ranging from engines and seats to rivets and bolts. Several locations are home to thousands of workers engaged in this extensive production process. Navigating through the extensive list of facilities and manufacturers for A380 parts can be overwhelming, so let's zoom in on the major players. First up, let's talk engines. They're sourced from either Rolls-Royce or Engine Alliance, a collaboration between GE and Pratt & Whitney. Each A380 receives 4 Trent 900s or GP7200s, respectively. These powerful engines are readied by the manufacturers before they are shipped to Toulouse for the final stage of assembly on the A380. The fuselage of the A380 is being built in stages at several different places through a coordinated effort. To start, the nose and center sections are crafted in Saint-Nazaire, France. The aft fuselage, including the vertical tail fin, is manufactured in Hamburg, Germany. This vertical tail fin flies from Hamburg to Toulouse, while the plane's 6 main parts are out on the sea. Moving on to the wings, one of the most innovative features of its design is the massive wings. They are produced in Broughton, Wales, the same location as the wings of numerous other Airbus aircraft. With a 70-year history of producing wings, Airbus selected Broughton to construct the wings for the A380. The plant aims to increase wing production from 4 to 6 per month in order to keep up with the rising demand for orders. Finally, Cadiz, Spain, is the manufacturing location for the horizontal tail fins. By spreading out the work to different places, Airbus can make the most of each facility's unique skills to build the A380's parts quickly and effectively. Although the majority of the A380's parts are made in nearby European countries, some are imported from other countries. For example, according to Flight Global, the wingtips are produced by the Australian aerospace company Hawker de Havilland. However, how do all these parts from all over the world come together on the assembly line in the end? The journey of these parts to the final assembly line is like bringing together pieces from far and wide, like a global puzzle. Airbus has the task of moving the different parts to the assembly location once the production process is finished. How do they move such massive parts? Larger pieces require more specialized techniques, while smaller components can be carried by air or commercial shipping with reactive ease. Airbus has 4 main modes of transportation: air freight for quick delivery, sea freight shipment, road convoys for overland travel, and barge transportation for parts that need to be transported across rivers. Each method is tailored to accommodate the size and weight of the components, ensuring they reach their destination safely and effectively. The majority of A380 parts are shipped in cooperation with road convoys, while some special parts travel by barge along rivers during their voyage. One memorable transportation event was the road journey of the A380 fuselage from Saint-Nazaire to Toulouse. In the quiet hours of the night, in the countryside not far from Toulouse, lies the peaceful French village of Levignac. What's happening here at such a late hour? People are waiting in a line along the main road of the town for the parade to start. However, this 1 a.m. spectacle lacks elaborate floats and marching bands. Rather, a group of 6 trucks pulls up together, each pulling a giant trailer that contains a significant part of the Airbus A380, the biggest passenger plane in the world. The plane's wings, fuselage pieces and horizontal tail planes slowly make their way through the small town, drawing cheers from the onlookers. The convoy's last destination, the FAL in Toulouse, is barely an hour's drive away after passing through Levignac. This procession takes place once every few weeks, and people living in small French towns along the route had the rare opportunity to witness these enormous pieces moving down the streets. For the safety and security of the convoy, the route is partially blocked to regular traffic as the trucks travel through the night. The convoy passes through the center of the town without taking a bypass, but this came to an end when the last fuselage part passed through Lignac, Gers, and numerous more cities. Now that the construction of A380 fuselages has concluded, this site will be no more. The fin makes its inaugural flight not on the outside of the plane, but inside an Airbus A300-600 ST supertransporter, also referred to as the Beluga. The vertical fin of the A380 is the only part of the megajet that the Beluga can fit. Even with the Beluga's enormous size, all the other major components of the airplane are still too big to fit inside the aircraft. The trip of the tail fin from Toulouse to Hamburg was by Airbus Beluga. All of the parts are transported across great distances to Airbus's extensive plant in Toulouse, a town in southern France. The final assembly line for the Airbus A380 is more than 1.6 million square feet in size. The precise number of workers at the FL is unknown. It's no secret that the Toulouse factory as a whole keeps a whopping 48,000 people on its payroll. The Jean-Luc Lagardère plant, a specially constructed facility in Toulouse, is home to the final assembly line for more than 500 passenger A380s. In addition, single-aisle A320, wide-body A330 and A350 aircraft, as well as the Airbus corporate headquarters and flight test department, are all located there. Over 200 A380s have left the Toulouse factory since Singapore Airlines received its first delivery of the aircraft. Arnaud Cazeneuve, Airbus's manager of oversized surface transportation, is in charge of this meticulously planned logistical operation that brings these huge airplane parts to the final assembly line. 3 fuselage parts, 2 wings, and the horizontal tailplane make up one A380, in Cazeneuve's opinion. Assembly starts at a single combined station as soon as all the pieces arrive. Massive cranes lift each piece into place, while scaffolding is created to connect everything together. From the nose to the tail, almost every part of the assembly is finished at this station. At the end of production, only the engine is placed on the aircraft outside of this facility. But why? It's all about keeping those inventory costs down. A380 engines were once valued at $25 million each. When you consider that this airplane required more than £10 billion for research and development, it makes sense to cut costs wherever possible. After assembly, the aircraft is moved outside for a series of necessary checks before its maiden flight. These tests examine the electrical and hydraulic systems, landing gear, fuel tank for leaks, and other components. After the aircraft has finished its test flights, it heads to the paint shop to get its unique livery, except for the tail, which is already painted. The remaining portions of the aircraft must be painted to match before delivery. The initial coat is applied in white, after which special plastic covers and tapes are used to shield the new coat from the secondary coats. This must be applied by hand to the letters and other detailed portions. Completing this mission requires cooperation between several crews, considering the plane's sheer size. They often need to use special motorized lifts to access every area of the aircraft. It's essential that the painters wear protective suits and masks to prevent them from inhaling paint particles, since the paint used is highly toxic in its liquid form. Once the paint has dried, the protective plastic coverings are removed, revealing the finished product. The brand new A380 is now the finished product, ready to take flight into the skies. Thanks for watching and see you next time.